Okay, so River Hogs and the Desperados need to go on autopilot. I'm not going to put CO Sapper on autopilot because he might show up late. Alright, so Desperados and River Hogs. What's up, everyone? If you're tuning in, this is for my Global Football League GFL Sim League. We are holding the 2027 rookie draft. A few people who are not able to attend have requested a stream so that they can watch. So that is the purpose of this stream. So DJ Reed on the Condors says that they need some pass rushers. Jackson Dart with the Bison saying he needs some O-line help. Khalil Shakir on the Storm wants him to get a QB. Looks like Dante Moore is the projected #1 pick. Here we go. Helps if my TV's not muted. Okay, hold on, I gotta get my remote. Okay, it's gonna take me a minute to get the flow of who all's here, what teams are user teams. I'm pretty sure the Wizards are not a user team, but I'm just double checking before I skip them. They are not, okay. Alright, Riverhogs are up. They're not here. I put them on autopilot. I don't know why. Hold on. Let's see. Here we see who the Riverhogs get at pick number 2. Lenora Sellers, you got your QB. So Jeremiah Smith went 1, Lenora Sellers went 2. So Jeremiah Smith's already gone. I need a receiver. I think I'm going to go ahead and get Cam Coleman. Yeah, I'm going to go with Cam Coleman. That's fine. I reached by 2 spots on him. Alright. Darian, is he here? Let's see. Let me check and see if he responded. Yeah, so Lenore Sellers, I had him in a previous iteration where we started, and I actually I liked him. J.R. Hams has him in our other Madden Sim League that's kind of like a smaller casual one, and we're in like 2031 or 2032 or something, and he just won the Super Bowl with him the last season. I don't see that he's responded, so I'm gonna tag him and see if he's on. Yeah, Mac Jones is definitely not it. No, I got you there. Now, Lenore Sellers, he's not super exciting, pick, but he's a solid QB. He's a solid QB to develop up. I mean, he's not going to be, Michael Vick, Cam Newton, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson. He's not going to be that, but he's fast enough to scramble when needed. And he's not going to be Tom Brady or any super accurate quarterback, but he's good enough. All right, I haven't heard anything from Darian, so I'm going to start the timer. If he responds in the Discord, I will pause the timer. Yeah, so did you set any players to your favorites in the prospect screen? Because that works. You can set it, and it works off of it like a fantasy football auto draft list, like priority list. So if you put linebackers at the top of it, it'll pick one. And it cut off half of what you said. I couldn't see that. Let me pull up the chat on my phone. Oh, Whit Weeks. Yeah, he's kind of a late round projected, but I mean, I personally like Whit Weeks a lot. Him and his brother West Weeks. Alright, so coming up next will be Honolulu, and I think he's on. Yeah, he is. So I'll pause this after Darian's pick goes in. And Darian gets edge rusher Colin Simmons with the 4th pick. Right, I gotta pause the draft for Honolulu. And then next, I guess I'll be the next user pick after him. I don't think Memphis is a user team. In fact, I know they're not. I don't know, did Jepson say he was going to be on? He did not. Yeah, I mean this draft has some pretty decent running backs. Or wait, no. Actually, I don't remember. No, I'm sorry. The previous draft did. Ellis Robinson, that's a good one. All right, let's see. All right, Will Eccles. All right, I'm gonna give Jepson a few moments because he's got back-to-back picks here, and I'm gonna start the timer if I don't hear anything from him shortly. Yeah, I really like Isaac Brown. I don't know much about Nate Frazier, but I really like Isaac Brown. Um, Front seven, yeah. I could use an edge rusher, but I mean I've got James Pierce on one side edge rusher. I've got Leo Chenal and Sonny Styles and Jeremiah Wusu Koromoa at linebacker. So pretty good at linebacker right now. I could use another edge rusher though on the other side. They can. I've actually dominated. I actually dominated a few seasons in our other sim league with strong edge rushers. Um, but I was also loading up heavily on defensive line abilities, blitz play sheets, stuff like that. And I was running a very aggressive defensive playbook. So you just have to kind of like sell out for it if you want it to be to really be like a game changer. All right, I'm gonna start the timer for Jepson for his next two picks. My next pick at 10, I think I gotta go either offensive tackle, corner, or safety. What picks do I have? I've got 64, 74, 96. Okay. 64 is not a good pick in the second round. I might need to trade back. I don't know. It depends on who's available. Cause like, hold on. Uh, I don't think it would, but I'm still kind of like up in the air on how the this works. So is that Dante Moore? Did he get Dante Moore? No, Leonard Moore. Sorry, not Dante Moore. Okay. I wish like the game would let us set like instead of just setting favorites, set a draft strategy. Like draft priority. You could put uh, QB, running back, linebacker, defensive tackle, corner as your like primary goals to like holes to fill in the draft, and then you could put like hard pick those in order or best available. Um, I wish you could like set your draft strategy for auto draft. So that's one good corner off the board. It looked like he got Dylan Stewart. All right, Condors are a CPU team, so I'm gonna flip to my next pick. Looks like Amari Washington got chosen there. Alright, I think I gotta go tackle here. Because I've only got Tristan Wirfs for one more year on the franchise tag. So I'm gonna just make this easy and go Jordan Seaton. Wow, Dante Moore and Arch Manning are still available. Alright, I'm gonna go Jordan Seaton. Yeah, can't really argue with that. Alright, I reached 3 spots for him. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna skip to the next user pick. That's J.R. Hams. I think he told me he's okay, so he's not gonna be on for that. So let me put him on autopilot and then yeah. I'm just gonna sim to the next user pick. Alright, and it's Oceanside now. I forget, did he say that he wasn't gonna be on? Oh, he's on, okay. Alright, so he went Nick Harbor, speedster, but it may have been a bit of a reach. Now it's Tokyo. Pretty sure Tokyo's on for the draft. He said he was. And then next after him will be the Celtic Tigers, which he said he'll be on. JT replacement? That's Justice Haynes, right? Hey, as a Michigan fan, I got nothing but great things to say about Justice Haynes. So if he's as good in the game as he is in real life, I think you'll be set up. Justice Haynes is him. A little injury prone, but yeah, I appreciate y'all lending him to us for a year. Now he's down at Georgia Tech. It's cool though. We got a loaded running back room anyway, but he was good. He did really good for us last year. He was on his way to a Heisman level season if he didn't get injured. Yeah, I do a during the season. I do a Saturday morning podcast with a buddy of mine that's an Alabama fan. Um, we talked about Justice Haynes quite a bit this last season. Okay, I forget. Did he say he was gonna be on for this? Let's see. He did not. Oh yeah, he did. He said he's on. Okay, hold on. Got Arch Manning. Now, I know Co Sapper said that he wasn't gonna be on yet, I think. Alright, I know he told me he was probably gonna miss the first round, so I'm gonna turn the timer on unless he says something showing me that he's home already. said he's not home yet. So I'm gonna skip his and go to the next guys. And C.L. Sapper got him a linebacker. Alright, Chicago Black Knights are up. Yeah, man. So like I'm not a professional podcaster. I just get on sometimes and talk ball. Um, I mostly do Michigan Wolverines and Minnesota Vikings content. But if you're a Bama fan, the one that I do during the season, it's with a guy named Lucian, and another guy named Mike. It's the Saturday AM Scramble on the Final Whistle. The Final Whistle Network, I think, is the YouTube channel. We're not doing it right now. We just do it during the season. Um, like I said, he's an Alabama fan, and we just kind of do like a college football as a whole preview. Um, that morning before the games start. Yeah, man, we'll see. I mean, there's some really good picks in this draft. All right, you got him a linebacker. Listen, for being on auto, uh, fucking Jepson got him a top corner, a top edge rusher, and a really good linebacker. All right, I know the Desperados guy is not here, so we'll skip to the next user. And he was supposed to be somebody that was on auto too. Why did it take him off? And Megatron is up. Let me check and see if he said he was going to be here. Alright, yeah, Megatron is on here. We're going to advance to the next user pick. Dante Moore got picked in the 3rd pick of the 2nd round. Okay. Riverhogs got edge rusher Deshaun Womack. Darian did not respond earlier, so I'm going to turn the timer on. A little bit, yeah. Maybe I did do that. You're right. Because I paused at the free agency recap and I may have put them on auto. I thought I put them on it before I started the draft, though. But maybe it counts that as a separate week. Ooh, Trades Green. That's a good pick. I like him. If I didn't have Kenyon Sadiq, he'd be at the top of my board. Ryan Williams got picked. Ahmad Hardy, Kwan Lacey. Right. I'm familiar with a lot of the guys in this draft, but not all of them. I don't know a whole lot about Womack. Ryan Wingo, nice. Hollywood Smothers got picked. That's a good pickup. Oh, Tuioti got picked. I missed that one the first time too. I think they won it all in year one. Yeah. Yeah, so you're allowed to move positions. So here's the thing. I don't really police people on position changes. Um, just just do it realistically, like don't move a 190-pound wide receiver to tight end just because he's fast. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to move guys to the other side of the line or move them inside or outside, it's fine with me. You want to move, safety to corner, corner to safety. You want to move a box safety to linebacker. I mean, that's where it's kind of like, okay, are you doing it because it's realistic or are you doing it because he's really fast? You know what I'm saying? It's less of an issue with it being sim, but like, all I ask is just do it realistically. Um, just don't do like cheesy stuff. Is all I'm asking. Okay, so Kraken, the Oceanside Kraken, he is here. He's just doing it from a bar with remote access, so it's taking him a little bit longer. La Lulu. There we go. Nick Marsh goes. Fluff Bothwell. I really like Fluff Bothwell. King Miller went to J.R. Hams. That's cool. He'll like him. Went with David Stone. All right. Haven't heard anything from C.O. Sapper, so I'm going to skip his pick. And he got his guy Jair Hill. I figured he would. At least he didn't reach for him in round one like he did last time. Earl Little Jr. Okay. Minnesota Vikings are my NFL team. Hey, you got your boy Whit Weeks for the Desperados. Yeah, Minnesota Vikings are my NFL team. It's kind of interesting. Like, I didn't have an NFL team for a long time. Hold on. Let me make my pick, and I'll tell you how I became a Vikings fan. All right. Wow, Julian Sayin is still here. Too bad I don't need a quarterback right now. Okay, so Smith Snowden, Elliott Washington, DJ McKinney. Let's see. Jaden Baw's here. Uaga Lele, I could go with him for the other edge spot. When's my next pick? Round 10, round 3, pick 10. I think I'm gonna go with Uaga Lele here. It was a bit of a reach, but it's alright. Alright, let's advance to the next user pick. Alright, and that's going to be Darian. I'm going to start the timer. Wow, Trey Pierce? I mean, don't get me wrong. Trey Pierce is my guy, but I didn't expect him to go in round 3. So I'm from Michigan, but I moved around a lot when I was a kid. I lived in California, lived in Tennessee for a long time, lived in Iowa for a year. Um, I live in Michigan now. And when I was a kid, the Lions weren't really good, so I never really became a fan of an NFL team. So I mostly, because I was a college fan, a Michigan fan, but really just college football as well. In general, I became like in the pros, I became a player fan. Like I was a fan of certain players. So there were often, there'd be like 18, 19 different teams that had players that I really liked. Um, at one time, back in the like late 2000s, early 2010s, I was really high on the Vikings because I liked Adrian Peterson, I liked Jared Allen, I liked Percy Harvin. Um, but I kind of stopped watching NFL for a good, I don't know, 5, 6 years. I just had a lot of stuff going on at the time. So I just got back into really watching NFL and college football really about 3 or 4 years ago. And of course, my guy JJ McCarthy, when I didn't become a Vikings fan because of JJ McCarthy, but when he declared for the draft, the Vikings and the Falcons were the two teams that were being talked about as probable landing spots for him in the draft. And so I started, just out of curiosity, wanted to see what the podcasters and people in those team spheres were saying about potentially getting JJ McCarthy. And I started looking up Falcons and Vikings podcasts, and the Vikings fan community um, that I experienced talking to them and interacting with them, um, they were just friendly. They were just accepting, and I found myself, watching. Um, I found myself watching uh, their shows even without, like before the draft, even when they weren't talking about JJ McCarthy. I found myself kind of getting into them and uh, becoming a fan. So by the time the draft hit, I was already like a Vikings fan, and so I was like keeping fingers crossed that they were going to draft JJ McCarthy and all that. Um, but I would have been a Vikings fan whether or not they drafted him. It just how it played out. But he who knows? He may not be on the team next week. I'm still going to be a Vikings fan. It's a cool name, cool colors. I've liked a lot of the players in the past, and the community just seemed really cool. I think I'm going to go. Let's see. I'm going to go with one of these two corners. Smith Snowden had a better 40 time. McKinney had better bench. Roughly the same vertical. Close, almost the same broad jump. McKinney's better on the 3 cone, better on the or not as good on the shuttle. Man, this is tough. I think I'm gonna go with Smith Snowden, just Michigan guy. Yeah, I'm cool with that. All right, let's skip to the next user pick. It's gonna be my guy Megatron. Fred Johnson. I've never even heard of him. I mean, Megatron knows what he's doing though, so okay. All right. Snowhawks are not a user, so I'm gonna advance to the next user pick. Bro, hey, I bet you didn't know that uh your boy Hines Ward um almost became a coach at Michigan just a few months ago. So when Michigan was going, when they fired Sherrone Moore, and before they brought in Kyle Whittingham, they were looking at Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State, and Hines Ward is his wide receivers coach, and Dillingham. I know the Arizona State guys like to say that that he chose to stay there instead of coming here, but that's not what happened. Dillingham flew up here for a an interview, and the Regents thought that he, I don't know, like it just, the interview didn't go well, and they never offered him the job. But part of the talks that happened was that if he were to have taken the job, he would have brought his entire offensive staff with him, including Hines Ward, which was like the main part that I was like sort of excited about if we had hired him. Yuman Mielin gets picked, okay. Let's go next to the next user pick. That's going to be Pocket Pete with the Thunderbirds. Deshaun Bishop went to the Orbits. An unfair recruiting advantage? How? I don't see how they could stop him from being a coach because of it would be an unfair recruiting advantage. Kyle, what do you mean? Who's on my team? You talking about my team here in this sim league? DJ McKinney goes to the Celtic Tigers. Okay. Um, so I'll show you who I've drafted here in a second. Okay. So, wait, is Desperados guy on? Huh. Um, So the guys that I've drafted so far, I drafted round one. I had 2 picks. I got Cam Coleman out of Auburn. I got Jordan Seaton out of LSU. Is that where he went after Colorado? Round two, I got Mateo Uagalele. And round three, at 74, I got Smith Snowden. And then my next pick is up next, and then I'll show you my roster here in a second. I'm going to pick a guy that has Michigan and Alabama ties with my next pick, I think. Let's see. I'm going to go Keon Sabb. Um, yeah, it's not any different than having Nick Saban or Kirby Smart. I agree with you. So this draft class is from SGR, Sports Gaming Roster. He makes draft classes. Um, this is his. I slightly modified it based on draft intel that I have as far as players sliding up, down in the draft. I slightly modified it. But then when you go through the season with it loaded in, the game itself like changes things on it. So I don't know everything about it, but it was SGR's, just modified. All right, next user pick is going to be Darian. I'm going to start the timer. Marcel Reed goes in round 4. Oh, I told you I'd show you my roster after that. So these rosters, just to clarify, Kyle, this sim league, it was a fantasy draft, and all the teams were auto drafted, and every user, myself included, um, picked what team we were going to go with without knowing who got drafted to the team. And this is after 2 seasons. What my roster looks like before this draft, because the new players aren't going to show up yet. So I got Josh Allen and Dylan Gabriel, running back Blake Corum, Jordan Mason, Isaiah Pacheco, Trevor Etienne, Jaden Ott, Jamal Haynes, fullback Max Bredesen, wide receivers Alec Pierce, Torrey Horton, Isaiah Bond, J. Michael Sturdivant, Devontae Walker, Roman Wilson, Xavier Thomas, Caleb Douglas. I did have Zay Flowers, but I let him walk in free agency this year. Kenyon Sadiq, who was my round 1 pick last year's draft. Brenton Strange and Gunnar Helm. Tristan Wirfs, who I've only got for 1 year. I franchise tagged him, which is why I picked Jordan Seaton. Quentin Nelson, Ben Bredesen, Zach Zinner, Jake Slaughter. I had to change his last name. No, it's not. That's why I picked Cam Coleman with my first pick in this draft. But I had to change Jake Slaughter's last name because Madden said it was profane. Jalen Sundell, Mekhi Becton, Talise Fuaga, Warren McClendon, Jalen Moore. Defense, James Pierce Jr., Princely Uman Mielen, Jonathan Cooper, David Ajabo, Tavius Robinson. I just drafted Mateo Uagalele. Defensive tackles, Christian Wilkins, Dom Orange, or Big Citrus, Makai Wingo, Tyrone Ingram Dawkins. Linebackers, Leo Chenal, Chris Paul Jr., Sonny Styles, Danny Stutzman, Andrew Simpson, Jeremiah Wusu-Karamoa, Diabate, and Tommy Eichenberg. Corners, DJ Turner, Upton Stout, Isaiah Rogers, Za Frazier, Keitrell Clark, Nazeeh Johnson, Robert Longerbeam, Nehemiah Pritchett. Free safeties, Brian Cook, Sione Vaki. I moved Sione Vaki from running back to safety because I liked him better as a safety when he played at Utah. Andrew Makuba, Kyle Duggar, Lewis Seen, Genesis Smith, Brandon Aubrey, Joshua Carty, Rigobert Sanchez, and Tommy Doman. And then Luke Rhodes and Alex Ward. Obviously, I'm going to be cutting some of those guys in preseason next year, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I've had two off seasons to sort of work on it. Also, keep in mind that we have player trades turned off, so I can't trade other teams. I have to build through free agency and the draft. So I think it's pretty solid. Like I said, I so far I've drafted Cam Coleman to add to the wide receiver room. I've added Mateo Uagalele, Jordan Seaton for offensive tackle, Smith Snowden at corner, Keon Sabb at safety. Those have been my picks so far. So I think it's working out so far. Um, my okay, so uh, assuming that Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Love don't drop to 18, my preferred pick would either be Mansour Delane if he was there. If he's not there, Jamad McCoy. I think our corner is our biggest need. Also, um, what's his name? The safety that went from Purdue to Oregon. Dylan Thieneman, I'd be okay with that. If we trade back to like the mid 20s, I'd be okay with Caden McDonald or Emmanuel McNeil McWarren. Um, there's a couple other guys I'd be okay with. Peter Woods, I'd be okay with. But my personal preference would be Mansour Delane drops to 18, and we pick him. I'm sorry, I missed a question. Let me pull up the chat on my phone so I can see. Yeah, so I'm not gonna say I'm an expert on ball knowledge. I started playing Madden again in 24. I'd say I'm decent at drafting in Madden. Um, but I have been a co-host on multiple college football podcasts. I've also been guest host on some Minnesota Vikings podcasts, and I'm very into like the whole draft process and tapped into that community as well. So that's where my knowledge comes from. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like some famous podcaster or anything like that. You can look me up on pretty much any social media, Kinetic 615. Um, my own personal channel, I don't do a whole lot of content, but I do put out videos from time to time about my Wolverines or my Vikings. It's Skull Blue Sports is my main YouTube channel, and then I've got this gaming channel. But on social media everywhere, if you look up Kinetic 615, I'm on there. I'm pretty tapped into the Michigan Wolverines community. I'm pretty tapped into college football. And then in the NFL, I'm kind of tapped in, but mostly surrounding the Minnesota Vikings and the draft community. Oh man, that's cool. So I missed the comment, but I just saw it. Yeah, going to the draft would be awesome, dude. I'd love to go to the draft. If they hold it in Detroit at all, I'll probably go to it again. I know they just did it a couple years ago, I think. Yeah, they did. If they do it in Detroit again, I'll probably go to it next time. Um, but it'll probably be a while before they hold it there again. Anto Saka. I have no clue who that is. Texas A&M Edge. Okay. Brett Norfleet. I've got some buddies of mine going there. Guy that's a podcaster that I know in the Viking space. He goes by Brevsky. Him and his guy Dom are going there to the. They live close-ish. I think they're in like the Virginias. So they're driving up to Pittsburgh. Ooh, Bear Alexander. That's a good pick. Nico Iamaliava's still available. Trey White's available. Ahmad Moten. John Mateer. Caden Lee. Rayleigh Brown. That's a good one. Jaden Bellamy. Jaden Baugh. Deuce Robinson's still there. Kip Lewis. Mark Fletcher. Rojas is there. There's still a few good ones left. How many picks do I have left? So 5 picks left. Right on point. 132. I got him at 128. Speed's not the greatest, but it's alright. It's sim, not sticks. River Hog's got Trey White. He's a good edge rusher. I like him. All right. I haven't heard anything from Darian all night, so I'm just gonna put him on auto draft or autopilot for the rest of the draft. And he got Nico. Okay. Jepson, I don't think. I'm pretty sure he said he wasn't available. Okay, I'm gonna put him on autopilot as well at this point. We'll put CO Sapper on autopilot too. There we go. Nice. Hopefully you'll get a linebacker on the next one. There's still a couple good ones. I don't even really need a linebacker, but there's a couple that I was looking at. Like I might pick them up just for value. I really like Kadu Luave, and there's another one I'm forgetting off the top that I saw, and I was like, oh, he's interesting. Alright, that's going to be my pick. I'm going to go ahead and reach for my guy, Rod Moore, even though it says he's a UDFA potential. I don't care. Huh, 157 in true value. I got him at 150. You're good, bro. Let me see. I gotta pull up the chat so I can see the rest of your comment. Yeah, you're good. Tony Rojas. That was the other linebacker. I was forgetting his name. Nice. Rayleigh Brown got picked. I like him. I looked at him for a second. Alright, now it's my pick. Alright, let's see. Do I want to go running back? Or Uluwave? I kind of need a new power back. Because Jordan Mason's getting older. And a 4.42 for a power back is actually pretty good, I think. And we'll go with Jaden Ball. Oh, 101 in true value. That's cool. And the River Hogs get in the 6th round Jaheim Oates, defensive tackle. My guy Evan Link went in the 6th round. Mark Fletcher, Jonte Cook. Alright, so 2 more requests to go on auto. Right. Well, and it kind of lets you like have your future starters and depth, and like you get to see how they develop and choose if you want to re-sign them after the rookie contract. But yeah, I mean, this close to the next game, I mean, we've probably got, because I won't start the new games leagues until the major roster patch right before the start of the season. So we've still got a good 4 months of um we've still got a good 4 months of being able to get through seasons. I'm gonna probably try to trade my next few picks. Let's see. Let me look. Is there anyone that I still really want? I mean, no, I just took a running back, so no, not really. I'm gonna go ahead and trade my final picks. Not really. I picked up guys that were just like depth chart guys. Like I'll go through it here in a second. I just picked up a couple depth guys. I don't I don't usually do much in free agency on Madden. Last year I got Blake Corum out of the free agency. I think I got Gunnar Helm in free agency as a backup tight end. I signed Ben Bredesen, who I'm gonna move either him or Zinter to right guard, backup. I'm pretty sure I got Warren McClendon out of free agency. I'm gonna move him to left tackle, or Jalen Moore, one of those two. I think I got both of them in free agency. Picked up my guy David Ajabo in free agency. Um, I got Isaiah Rogers and Keitrell Clark in free agency. And then I got Makuba and Duggar in free agency. So just depth. Yeah, I don't know either. He was there, and I signed him to a really small contract, so like I probably keep him, but I did just draft two corners, so I don't know. I may end up cutting him in free agency or in preseason too, but I do like him. It's just a couple. The Honolulu Koa right here is going to be the final one. Then I'll cut the stream. I'll post a recap for the user teams in the Discord server, and then I'll advance to preseason and set the next advance for preseason week 2 for tomorrow night. Of course, as always with me, if you ever need extra time, if you ever need me to push back the advance, an hour or two for whatever, like just let me know. As long as you communicate it, I usually can do it with it for a reasonable amount of time. But Alright, and that's going to be the final pick. Alright, I'm going to cut the stream. Appreciate anyone that checked it out, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Skull Vikes, go blue.